Hi, everyone. Today in math, we are going to continue to be looking at equivalent fractions on number lines. So let's go ahead and look at our first question on slide number 1. So let's just read it. It says, fill in the missing numbers on the number line to find a pair of equivalent fractions. So I notice right now that I've got some empty boxes. At this part of my number line, it starts at 0 and it goes to 1. So 0, 1, 2. I mean, this is a very small distance here. All right. So these fractions you can see are less than 1. They come between 0 and 1 here. So the first thing I need to think about is what is my number line divided into here? And so I see that it's divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 equal pieces. So that is what my denominator is going to be. So if this was 0, this would be a fourth, and it would be 1/4 because it's the first fourth. Here I would have my second piece, which would be 2 out of the 4. And then here I have my third piece, that would be 3 out of 4. And then right here, where this 1 is, that's where 4/4 would be, but we're just going to write it as a whole number. 4/4 is equivalent to 1. Okay. Now, as I'm looking at this, I notice 1/2 is written above right here, and that 2/4 is written down here. And so this is an equivalent fraction. 1/2 equals the same thing as 2/4. But I'm going to come on over here and answer this question now. So it says, move the point to locate a pair of equivalent fractions. So I'm going to take this point and I'm going to move it to right where I made that observation, 1/2 and 2/4. And then I'm going to create a number sentence about the equivalent fractions represented on the number line. So here I'm going to write my 1/2, and I got that from this fraction right here. 1/2 equals, and then I'm going to look down here and is equivalent to 2/4. 2/4. And that is what you have to do on this slide. Okay, so you've got 3 parts. You need to fill in the boxes on the bottom of the number line, move the dot, and then create a number sentence about the equivalent fractions. Okay, moving to slide number 4. All right, so here we're going to do the same thing. It says use the number line to create 2 number sentences for the equivalent fractions. So we have 1/3 here, and 2/3 and 3/3 has been put on top of our number line, but we need to fill in these empty boxes below. So before I do that, I need to figure out, well, what has this number line been broken into? So here's one piece, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then my denominators on here are all going to be 6. It's 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Okay? Because that's what my number line has been broken up into sixths. Now, when I come here, this is the first piece. So that we're going to call that 1/6. Here's where the second piece is. So that's 2/6. Jumping over 1, that is the third sixth. So 3/6. Here is our fourth piece. So we're going to call that 4/6. And here would be our fifth piece. We would call that our fifth, 5/6. And then here where it says 1, that would be 6/6 or 1. They're equivalent. They're the same thing. Okay. So now coming over to the sidebar here, we're going to complete some number sentences using this number line. So I see 1/3 here, and I see that 1/3, when I look at it, is the same thing as 2/6. So I'm going to put in my first box here, 1/3 equals 2/6. Okay, that's one equivalent fraction I can make on this number line. Another one I can make is 2/3. Now I could make 2/3 equals 4/6, or I could do the 3/3 equals 1 or 3/3. Since it's written as a fraction here, I'm just going to use the 2/3. So I can see that 2/3 is in the same place as we would say 4/6. 4/6. So I would read this fraction 2/3 equals 4/6. Okay. All right. So that's how you would fill in slide number 4. Okay. Heading over to slide number 5. This is a little different. So let's read the directions. It says, use the number lines below. And then it asks about the boys. I'm not sure what that means yet. So I'm going to come over here to my sidebar. It says, read the statements below. Move the points to the correct location on the number line to determine if the fractions are equivalent. So here we have a person, Jules, ran 2/3 of a mile. So I look at this and I notice that this first number line, it's broken up into 4 pieces. So this is not Jules's number line. She ran in thirds. But I do notice the bottom number line is divided into 3 equal pieces. So this bottom line is actually the number line for Jules here, which is kind of confusing. So make sure you guys are thinking about which number line each person might belong to here. So if I take this dot and I start at 0, here's my thirds. It's broken up into thirds. This would be 1/3 on that tick mark. And on this other tick mark, that would be 2/3. So Jules ran 2/3 of a mile right here. Okay. Now Jerry ran 2/4 of a mile. So here's my number line that is divided into 4 or divided into fourths. So I'm going to take my little green dot here. This is Jerry. So if he started at 0, and that would be my first line here would represent 1/4. So my second little division line here would represent 2/4. So I'm going to put him right there. Okay, now I'm going to look at them. They're not lined up, so this doesn't look like it's an equivalent fraction to me. So let's go and read this last part. It says, did the boys run the same distance? If not, who ran the furthest and who ran the least? So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do a little bit of writing. So let's just answer the first question. Did the boys run the same distance? I'm just going to say it. The boys, I'm going to kind of flip it. The boys did not run the same distance. Period. All right, so that's my first question. If not, who ran the furthest? Okay, so it looks like the two, well, no, the 2/3. So Jules. So this blue, this kind of helped me, you guys. Jules ran 2/3 of miles in blue, so her dot is also in blue here. So she ran the furthest. Jules ran the furthest. And I'm just using the words and the vocabulary straight from the question, you guys. The furthest. And Jerry ran, whoops, ran the least. Okay, and then I can fix my spelling here. Okay, all right, so that's what you're going to be doing for slide number 5. All right, moving down to slide number 10. It looks a little different, so read the directions. It says, how can the number line show 4/6 is equivalent to 2/3? Use the tool line, and that's right here. Use the tool line to demonstrate how 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. So here it's been broken up into thirds. So I need to now break it up into 6. So to do that, I'm just going to add a couple more lines. So here's 1, here's another line, 1. That would be, so that would be 1/6, 2/6. Use my line again. Here would be 3/6, and that would be kind of in the middle. 3/6. That would be 4/6. Get my tool again. Here, this would be 5/6 right there. Okay, so use the tool to demonstrate how 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is kind of a harder question, you guys. So just do the best you can on 10, 11, and 12. Play with it. Kind of take some time to kind of think about it. And how could you divide the line that has been divided into thirds into 6? Use the lines that are already there. Okay. This is a great question I can help you guys with tomorrow during our Google Meet if you need it as well. So don't stress about it. Just try it. And if you get it wrong, you're still thinking, you're still learning, and don't be too hard on yourself. All right. Have a great day, you guys.